Hey, everybody, what is the biggest mistake that RV buyers make? What do you think? You think you know? Oh, we're going to tell you what we think is the biggest mistake most RV buyers make right now.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
And a big old Texas-sized welcome to all our new listeners, especially those listening on one of our many radio affiliates around the country. We appreciate y'all a lot. I'm Alan Warren, and in this hour, you RVers are in for a treat because you're going to hear stories from a couple of veterans in the RV industry about things they've seen in RVs, things they still see in RVs that can give you, well, it can give you the willies. Now, before we bring up our first guest, a real quick monologue here. It's about RV inspections. I wonder if you're an RV owner, in retrospect, do you wish that you would have taken more time during the process of buying your RV? Did you find out some things about your RV after you bought it that you wish you would have known before you plopped down a bunch of money on it? For many of you, I'll bet you're saying, yeah, that's me. Well, you are not alone. The majority of RV buyers do not take their time. At least they don't take enough time, I think, when they're buying that RV, either new or used. And all too often, there are some issues that you may be having to deal with that could have been avoided, from poor construction on brand new RVs to hidden issues, and those aren't just on used RVs. Buying an RV is one of the biggest purchases that most people make in their lifetime other than their home. And I want to see happy RVers, not angry ones. We have actually set up what we call the Angry RVer Hotline, where you can call and tell us the situation that you're in, and we'll do our best to try and help you. We do not charge a dime for doing it. We really are trying to help. If you got a problem with your RV, or its manufacturer or dealer, you can call us at 24/7 on our voicemail, 1-855-296-7469. Write it down, 855-296-7469. All right, let's bring up our first guest this hour. He's one of our regulars on the RV Show USA, Mr. Al Pearce. How you doing, Al?
Doing great, Alan. How are you?
Well, good. You did an RV inspection today. I know you did. Are you worn out?
Oh boy, it's hot in Central Florida, but it's hot in a lot of places. But yeah, we found some interesting things in a 2017 fifth wheel we did today.
Well, tell everybody what the RV inspector does. What's an RV inspection for people that don't know yet, real quickly, because the longer I'm around RVers when it comes to the less than glamorous part of RVing, but an important part of it, they need to be a friend with somebody like you, Al Pearce.
Well, thanks, Alan. Yeah, it's just like a home inspection. We go top to bottom, inside and out. I crawl on the roof. We crawl underneath. I tell folks when they hire us, I said, Laura and I are going to inspect this RV like we're going to buy it. Yeah, you might not like the scratches on the cabinets and the things on the floor or the sofa or somewhere, but we're going to reveal them because that's what might be important to you as the buyer. We don't know our customers' pain. We don't know their mechanical ability. So I tell folks after I review the report with them, I said, you have to decide what is a pain to you. Can you fix the little things? We want to reveal all things and let them make an educated decision.
I know that we are going to be talking about some of the horror stories that you have seen, but first, give us an example of a typical RV inspection. How do they come about, and what are the main things you're looking for when you do the inspection? I know you look at everything, but what are the 2 or 3 really main things you're looking for?
Well, what we find is usually the maintenance issues. Folks own RVs, especially the ones that are still working a job and they have a family, and they take the RV out 3 or 4 weeks a year, and they don't claw on the roof, they don't look at the sealant, they just go have fun, which is what we want the folks to do. Mm-hmm. So we find RV issues as far as maintenance wise, and but we check everything, Alan. We do the electrical, the propane, the water, the slides, the AC units, the microwave. We test every little device and component in an RV, from the landing jacks to the tire dates. We do a propane leak test. We do what is called a hot skin test on the exterior of the RV. We just tear it apart. Not literally, but basically, yes. Yeah,
you go through everything. Well, I want to tell you that, last week, and you know this, but our listeners may not. Last week we had a lady that called in, and she had just a terrible problem with an RV, and she ended up calling you. Can you give us a little bit the abbreviated version of what she got tangled up with and then how you're involved?
Yeah, Alan, she bought an RV from a dealer here in Florida, and they, I wouldn't say they misled her, but it's possible. But after they took possession of the RV, they moved across the state. The rainstorm came, as they always do in Central Florida, and they started having water issues. And they had this issue and they had that issue. So she's been negotiating back and forth with the dealer she purchased it from. And quite ironically, Friday morning, 9 o'clock, I'm going to that same dealer to inspect a different motorhome that she's been able to negotiate through this whole process of aggravation. And we don't know what we're going to find, but my goal is to reveal to her and her husband what we do find. And hopefully there's they can come to terms with the dealer, and the folks can buy their RV, take down the road if they so choose, and enjoy the lifestyle.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but I actually called her. Her first name, Barb, you know this. But I called her and spoke with her yesterday for like a half an hour. And what a smart lady, and she is fired up. And did you know that she lives like 140 miles away from her dealer, and she got tired of the runaround. She got tired of the promises that were unfulfilled. They drove 140-something miles and showed up at the dealership, and those people, their jaw like to fell out.
Well, a lot of dealers around the country, especially the national ones, we're not going to name names, have a bad reputation about the service after the sale. I tell folks, don't sign the paperwork until we complete the inspection, because once you do, they got your money, and you're on the waiting list with all the other folks out there. So, yeah, there's a lot of great dealers. We've had great experiences with dealers. I've had some terrible experiences with dealers, and I'm sure my fellow NRVIA inspectors like Bryan and other folks have had problems with dealers. But it's the environment we live in. The industry is booming. People are just buying and selling and trading left and right, and people just don't stop and think, wait a minute. Like you mentioned earlier, this is an investment, a large investment. Some folks, it's more than their home is worth. Take a second, take a brief breath, just wait. Let the process play out, and then let us come in there as inspectors, and we're on the buyer's team, if you want to call it that. We're there to help them get through the process, buy an RV that they can enjoy with their family and travel, whether it's full-time or part-time, doesn't make a difference. And let us be on their team to help them so they don't have to deal with the issues after the fact.
Whenever you sell a home, obviously, the seller and the buyer agree you have to have a home inspection because that's what the mortgage company requires. It's not required on most RV purchases, but to me, it just makes good sense because there are some the obvious things, like you said, you can see scratches on the cabinets or a ding on the outside, but there are some things that are really, really important that are much less than obvious, and if you're not trained to spot them, you could be buying a real problem, couldn't you?
Oh, exactly. I've had sellers tell me, ask me a question, well, what'd you find on the roof? And I said, well, we had this issue and this issue because that's important for me because it's a water potential hazard. And they'll say, well, I've owned the RV for 6 years. I've never climbed on my roof.
Oh.
Alan, I actually put together a inspection maintenance kind of program I share with my customers. I'd be happy to share it with your listeners. If they would just send me an email or a text or something, I would share it with them. It's not going to be foolproof. It's not going to prevent all problems from happening. But, however, it will get them at least down the road a ways. And hopefully they'll find something that could have a potential of having an issue down the road. They can catch it before, well, one, they're broke down the side of the road. Number two, they have a water leak coming through the ceiling of their RV, like Miss Barb had. I'd be happy to share it with the listeners if they want it.
Well, that's great, and I guess it would be available on your website, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. But, it seems to me there's a common denominator with many of these people that are angry. I call them the angry RVers, is that they got over-enthusiastic. Like you said, slow down. They didn't slow down. They thought that the deal was going to get away from them, and they rushed in to buy something. And I think also that you may be in a difficult position because I think sometimes dealers may look at an inspector as you're the deal killer. They don't want you there. But you serve a purpose. You're the third party that all you want to do is report what you see, just the facts.
Oh, of course, Alan. As an independent, inspector certified by the RV Association, the salespeople are there to sell an RV. They're on commission, a lot of them. Maybe salary. Either way, there's a lot of pressure. And yes, you're right. People fall in love with the features and the benefits.
All right, hang on, Al Pearce. We got to jump for a break. We'll pick it up on the other side. Folks, this is the RV Show USA.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, back with our friend Al Pearce from InspectMyRV.com. We've been talking about some of the many reasons that every RV buyer should consider getting a third-party inspection, even on a new RV. Real quickly, Al, tell us about those new RV inspections and some of the reactions that you may be getting from RV dealers.
Oh, it's kind of funny. I always show up and they say, hey, I'm just here to inspect what we see. I'm not here to break the deal. My client loves the RV. They're so excited. They might be newbies. They might be going full-time. And I tell them up front, I'm not here to break the deal. I'm just doing my job and inspecting the RV. I'm going to give the client the results, and then it's up to the two of you to work out the details.
And their reaction?
And, Alan, a lot of dealers get grief.
They what?
They get grief because they get bad publicity. And for the most part, I think they're all good folks. But I've had some issues, and I'm sure some other RVers around the country, inspectors that is, will have the same issue that I was told once a few months back, I'm doing you a favor, letting you in my property. And I looked at the gentleman and I said, what do you mean? He goes, we don't, you don't need to do an inspection. We do all the work ourselves. I said, well, maybe so, but you're not doing me a favor. You're doing the buyer a favor. He really wants to buy this motorhome. It's a $125,000 price motorhome. I think you're doing him a favor, not me. Well, he grumbled and complained and whined and all that stuff, and he got me where I wanted to be. But yeah, so I don't know.
So you've told me on off-air conversations that you've actually been turned away by some RV dealers. Said, you're not inspecting this RV. That to me would be a telltale sign. If I were a buyer, run fast.
Oh, of course. Three of them. Three times this year was a dealer, and once this year was a private seller. And all the buyers, as you suspected and guessed, they said, well, I'm not buying from them. What are they hiding? I can't answer that question because I don't know. I never saw the RV. However, yeah, it does put a lot of indecision in folks' minds. But, Alan, trust me, we did an inspection last week. The folks were just accommodating. Here's the bathroom. We have water in the fridge. Help yourself. We're here to help you. Get anything at all, you just let us know. So there are a lot of good dealers out there, but there are some ones that are not quite cooperative, I guess is the word.
Well, I think you're being very politically correct, Mr. Pearce. All right, now I want to ask you. Now I want to ask you about the nightmare RV from hell that you inspected. Tell the story, please, and listeners, listen up, because I know you go, that could never happen to me, but something similar might happen to you. You know the one I'm talking about, right?
I do. It was a young lady. She's in college to continue her nursing degree. She bought a fifth wheel at nighttime, so it was hard to see any issues. She bought it. The dealer transported 100 miles to where she was going to stay in a campground close to the college. The owner of the campground said, oh, my God, there's something wrong. I don't think this thing is safe. You should live in this thing. So she reached out to us. Laura and I went and inspected the RV. And when I did a VIN search, which we do on every RV that we perform, every inspection we perform, I found it had been in a wreck in New Jersey. They washed the title, moved it to Georgia. They gave her a clean title, bill of sale, the whole thing, moved it 100 miles down the road for her. And, the pictures were just amazing. The back cap, the rear cap of the RV was almost torn off. The island in the middle of the fifth wheel had been dislodged from the flooring. So
hang on, Al. So what you're telling me is, obviously she's a newbie. She didn't know what she was getting herself into, and she trusted somebody. But the pictures looked real pretty on the internet. She bought it, and when they delivered it, it fell apart in 100 miles.
Pretty much. I was surprised that the driver even got down the highway because all of the marker lights on the driver's side, the street side, were all gone. There was none of them. the pin for the fifth wheel was so twisted. I'm surprised he even had the chance to hook it up. I see the picture you just posted. Yeah, it was amazing. And I had a chance to meet the owner of the park, and I thanked him because he's probably similar to our age, and he looked out for this young girl, 600 miles from home, no family, no friends. She was just wanting to do right, thought this was the best thing she should do, is just buy an RV and live in it, off campus type thing. And, we felt so bad. I told her, I communicate with her about every 2 or 3 days, Alan. I told her that Laura and I have decided that she is our poster child for the year. We're going to keep in touch with her, do anything I can do to help her. Good news is she's since found a travel trailer, very similar layout to what she had in the fifth wheel. She bought it. She's living in it. She's safe. She's secure. So we're happy for that part, but she's still dealing after the fact with an unscrupulous reseller/dealer that took advantage of a young lady that didn't know any better.
How can they get away with that, Al? It seems that's to me. I'm no lawyer, but it just drips of fraud. It's terrible, and it paints the entire industry as bad. I would think that the good RV dealers would want to get rid of those guys as quickly as possible.
Yeah, but what I've seen lately in the last couple of years is that a lot of used car lots have RVs. They'll take an RV, a tractor, a lawnmower, whatever, on trade to sell you a new car or a used car. So I see them right here in our own town, right here in Florida. I see some car dealers have RVs stuck in the back lot. They know nothing about the RV. They've done no maintenance on the RV. They've not even inspected it probably. Just took it on trade and hoping some buyer will come along with no knowledge as a newbie and buy this RV and never think about getting an inspection. What is that? I mean, that is our biggest issue, I think, with myself and Bryan and other folks out there and the inspectors in America. People don't know we're out there, and that's been the problem I've seen the last couple of years of doing this. I hear people all the time, like on your show, I wish I knew you guys were doing this 2 years ago because I could have used you. I think that's part of the problem, that people just don't know we're out here.
Well, you know that what we are going to try to do, like I say, in hour number 2 of this show, we are going to try to educate. We're really going to do our best to talk about not the ugly side of RVing, but the realistic side of it. Because most RV dealers are good, they really are, and they try to follow through on their warranties and so forth. But man, it's with the interest in RVing, with the manufacturers kicking those things off the factory line as fast as they can, dealers selling them, and people don't know what they're buying. It's a train wreck waiting to happen. And I think that RV inspectors like you, no wonder you're so dang busy. You and Bryan up in Canada, everybody all over the country, people are wanting an RV inspection. And I think that will hopefully improve the quality of the product that is coming out of Elkhart and the manufacturers that are making even these new units.
Yeah, we all have that same dream, Alan. I'm not sure if it's a dream or reality. It's been a long time. I may not see it in my lifetime as a reality, but I agree with you. If the public can get kind of behind this thing, and I've seen folks post on Facebook groups I'm on, and we need to start a movement, Well, it's kind of like dealing with our government. Sometimes it takes a long time to get something accomplished.
Well, I'll tell you what, the squeaky wheel, I really believe, gets the grease, and we're going to try to squeak. We're going to try to do it classy. We're going to try to take the high road. But when somebody like Barb or somebody like the nurse that got taken advantage of, the student that wants to be a nurse, got taken advantage of, people need to hear those stories, and hopefully they can learn vicariously through those negative experiences where they don't have to experience that themselves. Tell everybody how they can learn more about you, Mr. RV Inspector.
Hey, just go to our website. Like I said, I offered a free maintenance schedule for folks if they would just go to AL for Al, RVinspection.com. Click the contact tab, send me a quick message saying send me the maintenance schedule, and I'll be happy to send it to them, no charge.
All right, thanks so much. We'll catch up with you again soon.
All right, buddy.
All right, you take care. All right, folks, we're heading to Canada next. Y'all hang on. Be right back.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
All right, back with the RV Show USA. I'm Alan Warren. On our guest line is our friend from Canada. He's another certified RV inspector who's pretty much seen it all in the way of RVs. Let's bring up Bryan Carbonelle. Hey, Bryan, how you doing?
Hey, Alan. Not bad. Yourself?
I'm doing great. So did you hear much of our conversation there with Al Pearce earlier?
I did. I heard most of it.
Sounds like he has a couple couple of really bad examples that people have got themselves caught up in, where an inspection before the sale would have saved somebody a ton of money and a lot of headaches. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think, inspections are really important. I mean, it's hard-earned money that you're spending. You wouldn't think of buying a house or a condo or whatever without getting it inspected. So, when you're spending the kind of money that you spend on RVs, why wouldn't you spend just that little bit extra to make sure that you're getting a good product?
Well, I know that you are a full-time RVer. You're from Canada, and you've been an RV inspector for years. How has the interest from the RVing community changed over the years in terms of them getting RV inspections? Are a lot more people? I mean, are you in great demand now, more than you were a couple of years ago?
It's starting to pick up. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of Canadian inspectors. I think there's 2 or 3 that I'm aware of.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, quite honestly, most of my clients and most of my inspections are American clients on American units. Having said that, I've just done, believe it or not, after 3 years of doing inspections, I just did my first Canadian inspection for a Canadian buyer about a week and a half ago.
Oh my goodness! Now this is our short segment, so I want to ask you. I know with all the ice and snow that roof leaks have got it. The roof leaks are a big thing everywhere, but especially in a place like Canada where you do get all that cold winter weather. Talk to me about some of the roof leak problems you see as an RV inspector, and some of the things that people might want to do to preempt those leaks from happening.
Well, the best thing that anybody can do is get up on the roof or hire somebody to get up on the roof at a minimum of twice a year, once in the spring when you pull it out of hibernation and once in the fall before you put it into hibernation. You want to look for cracks. You want to look for cracks in the sealant, holes in the sealant. Maybe you caught a branch when you were parking in that lovely campground and, tore your roof a little bit. If you don't go up there, you're not going to know. With those cracks, if you've got a tear, you're going to get water in. Water's going to rot whatever's up there, and you're going to spend an awful lot of money to get that fixed.
Let me ask you this. Now, you're talking about a crack. How big is a crack? Mm-hmm. Because I know there's little stress cracks, and are those things something to be concerned about? Are we talking about something that's obviously if it's an 1/8 of an inch across, that's a big issue. How bad is bad in terms of what you're looking for on the roof?
If you can see it, it's bad. Water doesn't need a whole lot of space to get in. It'll flow into very minute areas. If your sealant is lifting, it can get under that as well. So if you can see it, you should probably add some more sealant on top of it or around it.
Are all RV roofs safe to walk on, or do you have to really be on your tippy toes and know what areas to walk on, or else you'll go all the way through? That may sound like a stupid question, but I just had to ask.
No, it's not a stupid question. Most of them are safe to walk on. If you feel that it's bowing a little too much, just walk on the joist. You'll be able to feel where it's more solid, and they're 16 to 24 inches, so it's you'll be able to feel them. And quite often you can actually kind of see little white waves in the roof, so you can step there. I've never had an issue going through a roof, and I've been on some roofs that have had some significant water damage. So it's you'll be able to tell if you don't feel comfortable, then get somebody to do it for you.
Now, what about permanent roof? You can get a permanent replacement roof. From what I understand, there's the what is it, RV armor that's really kind of last forever. But how does somebody know when they're throwing good money after bad? Do they do that in the beginning when their RV is new? Do they do it? Is there a point when you go, hey, it's not worth it? If you've got an old RV, you're just wasting money.
That's really a personal decision. If you've got a camper that's 20 years old, that's the perfect floor plan for you, that you've had since it was brand new, and you've got so many family memories in it, and you want to spend $6,000 to make sure that your roof is in tip-top shape so that your camper will last another 10, 15, 20 years so that you can take your grandkids.
Then do it.
Camping in the same, then do it.
Hey, Brian, hang on. We got to take a quick break. We'll pick it up on the other side. Hang on. This is the RV Show USA. Be right back.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
And a special shout out to our buddy Sam Clement, listening to AM 1150 WNDB in Daytona Beach. Thank you for tuning in, Sam, to the RV Show USA. Appreciate it a bunch. On our guest line is a certified RV inspector and technician from Canada, Mr. Bryan Carbonelle. So, Brian, where do you spend your winters? You can't spend them up there in the ice and snow.
Well, actually, the first 2 years of full time, we did spend our winters up here in our fifth wheel.
Oh,
but now, luckily, we get to travel south: Texas, Arizona, Florida, someplace where there's no snow.
I guess that's a big benefit of having your own business. I mean, a small business, you're an RV inspector, and you can travel where you want.
Absolutely, and I'm lucky that I have the ability to work in the U.S. as well.
Why did you become an RV inspector? I think, you told me a little bit of the story, but I found it quite interesting. Tell us about that.
Well, we bought our fifth wheel brand new, and in the first 2 years, we were back to the factory 3 times, dragging our camper 900 miles or so from our home to the factory to get it fixed.
And you were living in it, is that right? You were living in it.
That's right. That's right. We were living full time in it. Mm. So we found Terry Cooper's class, and that just happened to be in the same town the week 2 weeks prior to our last factory appointment, where they were finishing up the warranty work. So I took the class so that I had a better idea of whether they fixed it right, or whether they were just blowing smoke, or just so that I had a better idea of what was happening. And then it just kind of grew from doing it for my own information to turning it into a business.
What kinds of things were you dealing with as not as an inspector, but as an RV owner, that you had to go back to the factory so many times? And were they obvious problems, or were they sort of some unseen issues that turned out to be potentially really hazardous?
It was both. We don't have enough time to go through all the problems because it's literally pages and pages.
Oh.
We've had 3 roofs put on our camper from the factory because every time they did it, there was something else wrong with it.
Oh.
The second last time I looked up, this was one of the winters that we were living up here in the ice and snow. They replaced the roof in October. I looked up at the front cap in March, and there was a hole, probably silver dollar size, in the sealant. So there's this great big hole letting snow, ice, melt water run into our roof.
Mm.
It was just, we had that's probably been the biggest issue was the roof. But we've had soft floors, we've had hidden water leaks, stuff that we find over later as time goes on.
Now, Brian, when the manufacturer found out that you were now an RV inspector, did they treat you any differently, any better? It's like, oh my gosh, we need to fix this guy's stuff, or did you just feel like you were just like everybody else and get in line and we'll get to you when we can get to you?
It was get in line, we'll get to you when we get to you. They didn't treat me any different. They were just kind of like, yeah, okay, so you're an inspector, big deal.
What should non-inspectors, which is just about everybody out there, what should the average RV enthusiast do when they are buying an RV? What do you think? Do they take the dealer's word for it if they've got a nice ad and they've got a nice showroom and show you all the warranty papers? What do you think? I mean, take the word for it. They're going to fix any issues. Just bring it back. We'll fix it. What do you advise people?
I personally, I believe that if you're spending your hard-earned money on something, you should get it inspected. It doesn't matter if it's new. It doesn't matter if it's a year old or 30 years old. Have somebody that's independent, an independent third party, look at it for you. Not to tell you whether it's a good deal or a bad deal, but to look for issues that you as a consumer may not know would be an issue.
Do you get many people that say, hey, man, I'm not stupid. I can do this on my own and save a few $100. I can do this. Do you hear that?
Oh, yeah, I hear that all the time. Oh, I know what to look for. Well, okay, if you've been doing it for 40 years and you're a certified technician or a certified inspector, sure. If you're Joe average camper, are you going to know that there's silicone on a rubber roof when it shouldn't be there? Even if you bother to crawl up on the roof, are you going to be able to tell the signs of like a blowout? If it's a used camper, did the camper have a blowout? Are you actually going to crawl underneath it and spend the time to really look that close, or are you going to go in? Oh, yeah, I like the curtains, I like the floor plan, I like the microwave. I like the electronics,
they don't look.
It's all good.
They don't look beyond that, and that is the problem. I want to ask you this: in terms of lenders, are you seeing any lenders that are saying, you know what, we're going to start requiring an RV inspection, an inspection report before we lend $100,000 on an RV? Are they starting to do that, or have you not heard it?
I haven't personally come across it. I have heard from other inspectors where there are some lenders in the States that are requiring it now. I believe it's, I don't want to say a name because I'm not 100% sure what the lender is.
I see in the last minute or so, I see a predicament that the industry is in. I see the industry is making more money than it's ever made before. They're getting these things off the assembly line, so to speak. Dealers are selling them as fast as they can sell them, and the buyers are coming in so fast. There's so many people that want to buy an RV, but they don't know what they're getting. And that usually, RV buyers years ago, 40 years ago, they would buy 3 or 4 or 5 throughout their lifetime. These young people, if they buy a lemon RV, they're not going to ever buy another one, and that scares me about the future. So I think we're kind of in a predicament here, but that's a story for another time. Tell everybody how they can get more information from you, Bryan.
You can contact me through my website, techrecreational.ca, and that's not .com, but .ca because we're up in Canada. That's TECHREATIONAL. Or you can reach out to me on Facebook. We're on Twitter. If you can't remember any of that, get in touch with Al Pearce, and he can send you my way.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks so much. We do appreciate it, and we may try and track you down again soon. All right.
You betcha. Thank you, sir.
All right. You take care. All right. We're going to put up a link to Bryan's website from ours at thervshowusa.com. Thervshowusa.com, right there on the homepage.
The RV Show USA. Start living the RV dream today.
Hey everyone, I'm Miss Katie Warren, aka the Graphics Girl on the RV Show USA. Give us a like by clicking the thumbs up button down below, and if you want to see more videos like this in the future, click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye everybody.